welcome or welcome back to my channel, being Louisa. Oh my gosh, it's been ages since I posted one. I think I last posted back in November. That was like, what, 4 months ago? That's crazy to think. It's been so long and I'm so sorry guys. I know I said I was back and I basically dropped off the face of the earth, figuratively, not literally. But it wasn't just with you guys here on YouTube. I also stopped posting on Instagram, where I post usually a lot of my stories, and I stopped replying to text messages. I stopped communicating with people basically in general. That's because life happened. Sometimes you have a plan for your life and how you think your life's gonna go, and then God's like, no love, or the universe, if that's what you believe in. But yeah, so a lot has happened and there's a lot to unpack. I'm going to try to do it very quickly in like less than 10 minutes hopefully, because I've got some notes written down on my handy dandy iPad. So if you see me looking down, that is wise, because I'm reading my notes so that I don't go off, you know, script, because I have like dates written down and stuff, and I'm going to be showing pictures here as well. But yeah. So the reason why I kind of like just disappeared was there was a lot of stress going on. There was a lot of death in my family, and then I became ill physically. I became physically ill, and then also during like the beginning of this year, my mental health took a dive as well. So trigger warning, I will be talking about mental health. So if that's something that you are not okay with, I will re-trigger warn you when I'm close to talking about it. But yeah, so let's get on with this video. And also before I start the video, I just want to say like a big thank you to my support system. My mum has been amazing. She turned into my full-time carer. And thank you to my best friend, who I consider my sister, Elizabeth, and her boyfriend, and also to my other best friend, Millie. It's so hard for me to depend on people, and I'm just so glad that you all made it so easy for me, and I just appreciate it so much. And I just want to say that now, in case some people don't get to the part of the video where I'm going to say it again. But yeah, anyway, let's start this video. There's going to be a couple bits that I'm just going to bullet point, which is kind of like going to be of what I think were signs and symptoms and causes of this flare up to happen. I didn't know this at the time. It's only now that I have a diagnosis and I started medication that my mind's been clear enough to kind of think, oh, this could be linked to this or that. But it was kind of hard in the time because I didn't know what was going on. So let's rewind back to like November. I got a really bad, like, it felt like a sore throat, but then it developed so much. At first I thought it was swollen glands, because I get swollen glands all the time, but then it like went from like 0 to 100, and it was so bad. It was hard for me to talk. Swallowing was a nightmare. I couldn't even lay down because it felt like my lungs were collapsed. Like, it's not collapsing, it felt like my lungs were like blocked off by this lump in my neck, and you could feel it. It was like palpable, like you could feel like it was there. So I ended up going to the GP, and I said a bunch of stuff, and he was like, it's either laryngitis or it's the fact that your lymph node was infected and that infection moved over to your vocal cords. So he gave me antibiotics. Mind you, my body doesn't actually like antibiotics, so I was on like pure penicillin as well. But yeah, I think it's what contributed to what we're going to discuss for the rest of this video. And then in November also, I'd been going on walks every day or every other day to try and like sort out my mental health, because my anxiety had been really bad. And I just assumed that it was because I was going on for those hour-and-a-half walks, which is why the sides of my knees, the sides of my calves, and my ankles were hurting. I don't think that's why. I think it's because it was the start of my flare-up, but I didn't know that at the time. Also during this time, I was having to take like baths every day because like the pain would be so bad. And like if I didn't soak in the bath for like half an hour in Epsom salt, then like my body would hurt so bad. And I'm not a bath girl, I'm a shower girl. I always have been a shower girl. Yeah, so that was like, again, something that should have been a red flag, but I just didn't process it. Anyway, so December 7th was the first time I noticed something seriously wrong. And technically I did notice something on December 5th when I was babysitting. Like my wrist, so it was actually this hand, it was this wrist, my right wrist, right thumb and index finger, they were like stiff and really painful. Like I couldn't pick up the kids. Luckily they are super good kids, so I didn't need to pick up the kids, but I couldn't. That was something that I noticed, but you know, again, I kind of get those from time to time, and we hadn't figured out at that time what that could be. Anyway, so December 7th was the day of my last ever midwifery exam. I noticed that morning something was wrong. So I went to put on this ring, and I tried to put it on this finger. So this is my left index finger. It does look a bit weird now because it is actively swelling. My finger is swelling. but it's not as bad as it was then. So I went to put this ring on. This ring, see, fits on perfectly. Usually it's actually a bit loose, but right now it fits on perfectly because it is swelling. However, on that day, I could not get the ring, past here. So I could not get it past my knuckle at all. And I was like, what the hey is going on? Like, I swear you only meant to swell in the summer, but I couldn't think about it. I had to go to my exam. I didn't want to be late. I wanted to be really early so that I could like be chill. Anyway, so I kind of ignored it for that day because a lot of stuff happened, which you guys will find out in my next video, which will be coming up about next week, I think. So then I just kind of ignored it for that day. The next day I woke up and it went from being like my finger to like my hands had just started to swell, and it was just crazy. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, and it was like so painful. Like it was to the point of painful where I was like, hey, I'm gonna take painkillers, and I don't take painkillers unless like I am in so much pain. I've been put on for days, so it was really bad. And so I ended up calling the GP, and because of what I had told them, they were like, come in for a face-to-face appointment tomorrow. So December 9th, I went into the GP, and they were like, did all these like tests. Again, we ran through all the symptoms that I'd been feeling and everything like that. And then he was like, I'm gonna put you in for some blood tests, go put that at the counter, all this stuff. And he was like, this is what I think we're working with. And our working theory was rheumatoid arthritis because of like the kind of like the sudden onset, the way it was presenting itself, and it was just like all these things. So he was like, first we've got to get your bloods back and see if like what they show, and one of the markers that we're going to check for is the rheumatoid factor. So that's what we did. We put that in, and then, well, we did all that stuff. Then that day I also I also volunteered to do a food shop for my best friend because she had been tested positive for COVID. Mind you, this is my best friend that works within the NHS and lives within NHS housing, so that's kind of probably what happened. You can kind of like surmise from that what happened, but anyway, otherwise she's like super careful, so it's crazy that it happened. But anyway, so I went and did a food shop for her, left it at her front doorstep, and like ran. I actually got a taxi to her house because my hands hurt that bad. Like that's how crazy it is. I don't do taxis, and I had to because my hands were so bad. And this is actually what my hand looked like. I'm going to post all the pictures, start posting pictures here now basically. This is what my hand looked like on the 9th of December. Also during this time, something was going on my face, and it's still kind of going on, which is why I've got a full face of makeup on. I don't wear makeup, but I'm going to be wearing makeup from now on because my face is just doing its thing. I don't know what, but it's doing something. I have got an appointment with a dermatologist coming up soon, so hopefully I will get the answers to that as well. So then on December 13th, my hands actually started to curl over, and it was like, it was weird. It was just like I couldn't open them, and I started to not be able to feel anything from my tips going down to about here on all my fingers. It was really weird and really scary, and I was just like, what is going on? So during this time also, my mum had actually left around the day before, I believe, to go to Manchester for her grandparents' funeral, or she left the day after, I can't remember which day it was, but she went to Manchester for her grandparents' funeral because both her grandparents had passed away. I was at home by myself, that's basically what I'm getting at. But yeah, so December 15th, my hands were like uncurled, they started to feel better. I was like, yes, we've got this. So I decided to be master chef, I guess, I don't know, and I made this a gorgeous meal. But cutting a sweet potato is hard, let alone cutting a sweet potato with hands that hard. I don't know why I did it, I just did it. And then I decided to take myself on a date since it was the day before our tier 4 lockdown started. So yeah, I took myself on a date, and that was really fun. Go onto TikTok and check out my TikTok about it because I did a cute little TikTok about it. But this is what I ordered. I went all out, whatever. I loved my date. But yeah, so go on TikTok, check that video out. It's at being Louisa. I thought it was really cute. We'll see. Then, because I did all of that, I suffered the next day. The next day, so the 16th of December, I was like in so much pain. I like laid still for a whole like 2 hours roughly, because I couldn't move. I couldn't turn to get any pain medication. I couldn't even turn to get my phone. It was bad. Plus I need a new mattress. It was just bad. And I ended up calling my mum, who was in Manchester, and then she called my brother, and my brother came down, let himself into the house, opened the doors because I couldn't open the doors, fed the cats, which was like the thing I was most worried about, and then helped feed me, basically. He left. I was like, I'm gonna be fine, whatever. The pain got so much worse that around like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I ended up calling 111, and they were like, we'll book an appointment with an out of hours GP. Went to them. They were like, I can't book any, like, I can't do tests or x-rays, so you're gonna have to go to A&E, I'm afraid. I was like, that's fine, but he was so fascinated, he gave me like strong pain medication, and he was like, I'm gonna tell them about you so that you don't have to wait too long. I still ended up being there till about 1 a.m, but anyway, that was interesting. Me and the doctors were just like, I ain't waiting for blood tests. You can take them, but I ain't waiting. If something's bad, call me. But I had got an x-ray on my hand because of the bump that was on my hand. It actually started getting bigger and bigger, and then went to make sure like it wasn't fluid. It wasn't. It was just edema, just localized in that spot. It was really weird. On top of the edema I already had, it was really weird. Yeah, so I didn't get home until about 2 a.m. on the 17th of December. That day, got some news, but again, you'll hear about that in the next video. But I was just so tired, guys, okay? I hadn't been sleeping properly, and like my body was just aching all the time. I still had appointments I had to go to, and I was taking a lot out of my body going to those appointments. It was crazy. So the last time I left my house actually was December 24th, which was Christmas Eve. That's because we did a family thing, and when I got home, my body was like, you are horrible, why are you doing this to me? My knees and my feet hurt so bad, and my mum was like, you're not leaving this house from now on. So I didn't leave the house for like the next month and a bit. I think it's about 6 weeks I didn't leave the house for, and that was terrible for my mental health, but we'll get to that. From December 28th, it kind of felt like my swelling and pain was kind of moving. So even though my hands and fingers and wrists were like still super painful, like I mean my wrists were so painful that it felt almost like literally doing this, that was the worst thing. Like it actually felt like my bones were shattering. It was so bad, but some of like the swelling and pain was kind of like moving, and it literally felt like it was migrating across my body. So my elbows were hurting. They always felt like they were bruised, my elbows. My shoulder started to hurt in January, I believe it was, and then December 28th, it was actually my knees and my feet that started to swell and become so painful, even though I had been like resting since the 24th, or since the 25th. I'm not going to show you what they look like now because I like my feet, and because you're already getting feet pics, but my feet are super skinny, so are my ankles, so are my knees, so are my elbows, so are my fingers. Like I have skinny fingers, I have skinny joints, that's just how I am. So the fact that they were swollen was crazy to me. Like pregnancy edema swelling, kind of like I've only seen it like in pregnant women. It was bad. But yeah, and over the course of the next month, it became my thing of calling the central booking team of the hospital where my referral went to, and just making sure they had the referral. Then whenever I got a call back, when I called again, they were like, no, it's like non-urgent. I was like, no, but it is urgent, so it should be urgent. So I called the GP again. It was back and forth until the secretaries at the GP actually did what the doctors couldn't do. Then it was me calling the hospital, the central booking team, trying to see if there was an appointment available sooner than the one that they had given me, which was at first March something. Then it got moved to April 1st, and I was like, no. And luckily, through my persistence, I ended up getting an appointment for like the 2nd of February, which was crazy lucky, because like literally the day I called them again, like I swear if you look at my phone calls, it's like me calling them every 3 days. I called them and the lady's like, oh, wait a second. And I was like, what? And she was like, oh, there's just been a cancellation for the 2nd of February. Yes. I didn't even answer time. I didn't let her finish. I was like, yes. And she's like, yeah, 2nd of February. I was like, yes. And there's 2 times I don't care. And they're like, this time I was like, I'll take it. Please, like, you're doing me such a favor. So I ended up getting my appointment scheduled sooner. Being your own advocate is something that I highly advocate for, and if you can't be your advocate, get someone else to be your advocate. Like I made it into my mission to get an appointment super soon, because I just couldn't fathom continuing on in the pain that I was in. Like guys, I was in so much pain. Like so I went from taking paracetamol and ibuprofen to taking naproxen and cocodamol to then taking tramadol and diclofenac. Like it was bad. I was in so much pain. I was on such strong painkillers, and then my stomach was just not liking all the painkillers I was pumping it. So I was in pain from like chronic pain from like my fingers, like my hands at one point was like shut like that, and like when I went to A&E, my hands were shut like this, and like guy put his finger in between and he was like squeeze, and I was squeezing it like ugh, and he was like, you're not squeezing, and I was like, I am. But yeah, it was that bad. Like I couldn't feel things, I couldn't like, it was just bad. Like guys, it was so bad that I didn't even take that many video clips, I don't think, or pictures. Like all the ones that I did take, I'll be putting here. There was one day that it was like, it had happened on New Year's Day, like the evening on New Year's Day, and this is this clip here. I'm gonna quickly show you like how far I can uncurl and stretch my hands, which is so much better than I was being able to do. as you can see, all I'm doing is wiggling my fingers, but that was an accomplishment for me. Guys, so I am currently editing this video, hence the change of outfit and no makeup. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I actually decided to split this video in two since I spoke for too long, and I thought I'd be able to edit it out, but it was not possible. It ended up being about 32 minutes altogether, the video, so I've split it in half. I hope you guys have enjoyed this half so far. It's been pretty like intense. However, the next part, which is coming out in 2 weeks time, is going to be a bit more intense because I will be talking about my mental health as well, so be prepared for that. But yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and now back to the outro. I just want to say thank you, dreamers, for your patience and still continuing to support me, and hopefully for your grace as well. And so yeah, I'm going to start back slowly onto YouTube, so about 2 videos a month, I think. If I can do more, I'll do more, but right now my aim is 2 videos a month, just to slowly get back into YouTube and start making some money, because your girl is poor. And then wait until the next video, because I want to say so much more, but I realise it's for the next video. But just look out for lots of midwifery videos, especially about my 3rd year, since I didn't really post about my 3rd year. So we're going to be talking about my 3rd year as a student midwife, and then we'll see what happens after that and where the channel's going to go. As always, dreamers, until next time, guys, keep on being you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below with any questions or suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe to get weekly updates. Bye.
How long has it been since I kissed you? I don't wanna wait. How long has it been since you held me?